We're still working with probability. This particular one is dealing with defective microchips. It says a microchip company inspects 4 microchips out of each batch of 10 microchips they manufacture. If a defective chip is found, the batch is discarded. Suppose that the batch contains 3 defective microchips. What is the probability that the batch will be discarded? And then we need to round our answer, so it wants it in decimal form. Okay, so we got 10 microchips, and 30% of these we're assuming 3 out of the 10 are defective. And if randomly someone goes through and starts testing these and finds out, if they find even one of those defective, they toss out the whole batch. So we're trying to find out what's the probability that they're going to toss this batch out. Well, in order to find that probability, what we first need to do is determine how many different ways we can choose good microchips. Because if we can find only good microchips, then that means they won't get tossed out at all. So that's an easier way to do it on this one. So let's kind of go through that. Okay, so if we do this one, number of ways of selecting 4 good microchips from 7 possible. And the reason why we're using 7 here is because there are 10 microchips total, however 3 of those are defective. So the way of choosing 4 good ones from 7 possible good ones, that's what we need to determine. So that one is going to be a combination. It's going to be a 7 choose 4. 7 choose 4 gives us 35, and we can do that, plugging that one right into our calculator will be just fine. Okay, now we need to determine how many different combinations, how many different ways we can choose 4 microchips out of a total of 10. Okay, so ways of choosing 4 microchips, this one would be 10 choose 4. And this would be our combination, 10 choose 4. And you can plug this in your calculator just like that, or you can use the shortcut. And let's kind of do the shortcut just real quick, just so you can see it. Let's do this one over here. Okay, this is a 7 choose 4. So if we're using the TI Inspire first, what we'll do is go to right here to Menu. Under Probability, it says Combinations. And we're going to do 7, 4. Okay, and then make sure you have the comma there. This is 7 possible ways. These are all the good microchips. It's 7 possible microchips, and we're choosing 4 of them. Answer would be 35. And you'll do the same calculation for this one over here as well. Same method. Now let's bring in the TI-84. Let's clear all this out. 7 choose 4 would just be 7. Then what I'm going to do is go in here to the Math button, over here to Probability, which is 3 to the right. Option number 3 is our combinations. You'll see option number 2 is permutations. So if you need that, you can use option number 2. But this one's a combination. Order does not matter. So we're going to go to 3, 7 choose 4. And yours might look a little bit different than mine, depending on what version of software you have, but it'll work just the same. Then hit Enter, and that gives us 35. So either way is going to work just fine. Okay, now what we're trying to determine is what the probability is. First, that we can get only good microchips, and that's it. So in order to find that probability, we take the number of desired outcomes, the number of times that we can get the good microchips, and that's 35 different, and then we're going to divide that by the total number of possibilities out there. In that case, it's 210. So probability of selecting only good microchips, this would be our 35 divided by 210, which is 0.167. Okay, now that gives us the probability of only selecting good microchips, but that wasn't what our question asked us. It asked us what the possibility of it being discarded. In other words, we have to have one of those microchips be defective. Well, if this is the possibility of having all good microchips, the inverse would be the possibility. In other words, 1 minus this would give us the probability that we will have one of them be defective. So that's the way that we'll use this calculation here. We're going to take 1 and we're going to subtract this number here. And that will give us the probability that we will actually have one of those 4 be defective. So 1 minus 0.167 would give us 0.833. Now that's rounded to the nearest thousandth. Thousandth is 3 decimals. But the big thing here is it's going to be a lot easier just to try to calculate what the possibility is that they're all good. Then we can subtract that from 1. Because remember, probability is always 1 is the maximum. That's 100% probability that it will happen. So 1 minus whatever the answer was for getting only good microchips will give us our answer, meaning one of those is defective.